Let's take a look at how to determine the domain of a radical function. The first thing you want to do when determining the domain of a radical function is to take a look at the index. The index is the number up here over top of our radical sign. In this case, since there is no number, it's understood that there's a number 2 up here. And what we're interested in doing is determining whether or not our index is an even number or an odd number. In this case, since our index is an even number, we need everything underneath our radical symbol to be greater than or equal to 0. So if we're able to solve this inequality for x, then we know the domain of our radical function. So let's go ahead and subtract 6 from both sides. It's going to give us 2x is greater than or equal to negative 6. And we can divide both sides by 2, and we get x is greater than or equal to negative 3. This means that if we want to write our domain in interval notation, we're going to start at negative 3. I'm going to put a square bracket here because I'm allowed to include the value of negative 3, and we're allowed to go all the way up to positive infinity. And if you want to see this in set notation, this is the set of all x values satisfying x is greater than or equal to negative 3. Let's compare our last example with this new radical function, the cubed root of 2x plus 6. Notice that the only thing that's different from our last example is the index. Here the index is odd. Whenever you have an odd index, we're allowed to have negative numbers underneath our radical symbol. So this means that the domain of our function, in this case, is all real numbers. So in interval notation, we have negative infinity to positive infinity, and in set notation, of course, we have the set of x's where x is any real number.